to another day of Chaos March. We are on Ivorytower. Skynet Harry is using a Harasser D, Silvercraft Raven D, Antares Chimera D, Ben Shadowcat D, Shadowcat B, Kentax Thor F, Krieger Demo D, Proxima Bloodasp G, and this is the attacker's team. The defending team is Burner in a Solitaire E, Serpentis in a Donar G, Gnome King in a Shadowcat D, Bayard in a Hewitt Prime, Marius in a Bushwhacker Prime, Bob in a Bloodass B, and Polgy in a Bushwhacker Echo. The teams are on Map 4 of the potential 5-map campaign. The first team to win 3 maps is declared the victor for control of the planet. We are currently tied 1 victory for each team. There was a tie on the second map, so either of these teams needs to secure 2 victories today to secure the campaign. We are looking at a very brawly short-range list for the attacking team here. They have very good radar, however, from their Raven Scout, BHP, which provides a 40% increase in radar area, and his teammates will be able to see it as well. This is a large map that allows for long-range engagements, but you can see that the corridors can get tight and certainly allow for medium or even brawly range. There are a number of tunnels that run through this map that can provide cover as you move through the environment. Let's take a look. This is Serpentis for the defenders, flying the VTOL all the way up there. It's his job to find the enemy team, perhaps open a couple of shots. We see Gnome here trying to get visual. Well protected up on top of the tall plateau mountain. So right now the defending team are wide open, sticking to the river, which runs through most of the map in a U shape. And they are going for range, and so they've parked a good number of their assets over here. You can also see that they're a little spread out. I played with Wolverine's Rebirth, which is the many members of this team are, and they like to utilize this type of strategy where they assign somebody to watch each direction, and they'll spread out a bit to find enemy information, and then depending on what it calls for, they will move in. We can see that Gnome King has been discovered by Silvercraft, and Silver in his scout has provided a backup gnome shot. So Gnome's going to get back to cover because he's not entirely sure what's down there. Silvercraft has been able to ascertain that there's an enemy Shadowcat probably. Silvercraft, one of the top scouts in the game, able to have a good sense of when it's time to run and when it's time to fight, and very good at providing accurate information and enemy movements. He has a very good vision for the game, in other words. But do not underestimate this pilot. He is a very talented fighter, and when he's when the situation calls for it, he can definitely go toe-to-toe with many of the good players in this game. Gnome is often Burner's forward scout, and as you can see, he has him operating on his own like Silver, and Gnome also has a good sense of knowing when it's time to regroup with the main group, and also providing accurate scouting information. See just how protected this plateau is. If you have a jump jetting mech and you're able to get up, you've got lots of cover, you can see things, and if you have something like LRMs, or, well, I don't know how you would get it up here, but even Arrow 4s, you can fire those things off and have virtual protection. Aerospace certainly do well in this map. And in fact, let's take a look at Serpentis. Now that he has information about where the Raven might be, perhaps that'll give him knowledge about where to head. So let's take a look here, flying through the skies. Currently sticking with his main team as they maneuver back into, I believe, this canyon area. Meanwhile, the attackers are also on the move, having sticking to the roads in the interior of the map due to the shorter range, and looks like they're just coming up on one of the forks in the road. It can take a while to find each other on this map. It's large, but it's not so much the size as it is the roads. There are multiple passageways, as you can see, to take, and radar in this game for ground assets requires line of sight in order to get detailed targeting information. Like, it'll tell you that there's a light mech or a medium mech or a heavy mech ahead, but in order to say, well, is that a blood asp, is that a mad cat, you have to establish line of sight for a little bit. So arguably right now, Serpentis, when he's able to get over, like right now, Serpentis is, if that's accurate, is up here, and if he has, say, BAP or BHP radar, if he pings it right now, he'll be able to pick up detailed information on every single one of those players down there, because he's in a he has line of sight. But if he pulls too far up or his radar is too weak, if he might only pick up basic information. So it's definitely useful when you have the opportunity to utilize a flying asset with radar to act as a scout. Even if the weapon systems on it are not the greatest, it can still be very beneficial. We can see now that Serpentis has a beat on the attacking team's position, and Gnome King is adjusting accordingly. Gnome is still on the same plateau he was earlier, so it's likely Silvercraft and the other players on the attacking team know he's there. But I don't know if they've discovered the Donar yet, because as you can see, we go down here and you look up, he is very high up. So that would likely require a visual sighting, even arguably with enhanced optics. And one of the limiting things in this game for balance is that mechs or even some vehicles can only rotate up so high. Like right now, this might be as far as if I were in a mech, I could see like this, compared to a dedicated anti-air asset like a Hewitt or a tank, where I can go straight up and see. So it's a valid, easy tactic for a VTOL to balloon directly above a team and not have to worry about detection, as the two teams now realizing each other's positioning. Kentax and Ben and likely commanding the team, setting up their strategy. They have to decide if the risk is worth it to go, let's see here, to go the 900 meters to attack Burner's team, because as you can see, the defenders have the range advantage by far and have a firing line set up, so perhaps a direct on attack would be a bad idea. However, as I mentioned, it is entirely possible to come from this direction, so most likely they're trying to figure out a way to keep the defender's attention and then have them now it's an arrow missile, but they have a good defense here. If all of the players around the demo within about 150 meter radius turn on their radar, they will have Angel ECM protection, which will make it very hard to get the needed locks to make the missiles track, and also will hide them on radar. As we can see, the defending team now starting to work their range advantage. I think they're purposely, nice recovery by Skynet there. They're purposely trying to get their attention and have them fire right now, while the rest of the group attempts to climb up that mountain pass up here and see if they can move in. Because even though this is a very good position, you will note that the rocks run along the entire side here, which would allow them to move around and avoid a direct fire confrontation until they can get closer. Now, more than likely, Serpentis is going to be tasked with following their every movement, so you're not going to have the element of surprise here. But you certainly can think about utilizing the tunnels, or even trying a very long-range pincer maneuver to close the distance here. As you can see, they're trying to discover with their jump jetting mechs if they can get some of their assets to attack them at close range by coming up this position that Ben is in, to snipe with their short-range weapons, or even to provide enough fire for the team to advance. But I got one over there. And so let's take a look here. If we were to come to the edge, that's probably enough range that with their longer range brawler weapons they can hit. You can see that Burner is aware of this, and Marius and Burner have probably told the team to try and reposition. They lose the advantage of being able to pincer maneuver. So you're going to see Ben, Antares, and Kentax attack from the left, while the rest of the team will attack from the right. The dangerous part of this is that the timing has to be good. You have to have both teams arrive at roughly the same time. You can see Burner now aware of what's happening, and they are trying to dumbfire their lock-on weapons. And this is a calculated risk that they're spread out enough that they won't be able to focus any general fire. We'll keep it pulled back so you can see the entire field of action. They are focusing on the Hewitt to try and take care of their powerful cruise missile launching capability. They have defeated. Looks like it's they've defeated the Hewitt, so now they are moving on to attack the other long-range assets. Serpentis likely is up in the air right now, attacking with his weapons. But now that they have certainly anybody's game at this point. Okay, Ben is down. He is likely their drop commander. So Kentax will be stepping in here to fill in that gap. Both teams affecting heavy damage. They were able to get Burner. And now they may clean up. Krieger Wolfson will be key to providing something for the remaining members to fire upon. Right now, they're trying to focus on the lighter assets to get them down. They've lost Proxima and the Blood Asp, so now that Demolisher becomes extremely important for finishing this off for the attackers. Okay, they've taken down all of the drop commanders now for the attacker, for the defending team, and likely they will just need to clean up. There's still enough assets that this could go either way. This will be about how quickly they can take down the Blood Asp, and you can see way off in the distance that they are attacking the remaining two assets. The Demolisher needs to move in right now and get significant firepower onto the Blood Asp. If the Demolisher goes down, that still might be enough to perhaps carry this, depending on if that asset up there is still alive. Okay, that should be it. Now they simply clean up. VTOLs are not considered carrying assets. They cannot be the last asset and still claim a victory. So now they will simply need to take down Gnome's Shadowcat, and we will have the attackers going up 2 to 1, and we'll be 1 victory away from successfully taking the planet. Looks like that Polgi did survive the initial attack, so there will actually be some more battle. As Polgi, in a situation like this, you just fight hard, fight brave, and see if you can maybe take out one of the other already damaged mechs. It's certainly not fun to be on the closing end of this, being the final ground asset. You can see that they were able to take out the Demolisher, but in the end, ultimately, it is still the attackers' victory, and we will move on to Thunder Rift to see if they close it out. For the Chaos March Network, I thank you for watching. This is Duelist signing off.